Good afternoon. It is September 29th, 2022, and today we had a downtrend, but it turned into a range really. I had the lows right here based on this midline. Um, and I think that it looks pretty accurate. So we'll take a look at these. I wasn't watching during the 12 o'clock hour, so there might be something in there. Um, but yeah, let's take a look at these. So we had this move down, these two legs down in the overnight, and then um, prices were correcting. This was a pretty clear channel up, and it was going on for 3 or 4 hours. So definitely something you can play if you have long setups. So that being the case, oh no, this was too early, but this is a failure. But then it comes to here, and you see we come up short of this. And it could be that the channel was down here, and you can see that makes the midline. That looks like that's probably it. Yeah, that's probably it, because we get the overshoot that leads to the break right here, and two legs up to a new high. So I'm going to leave it like this. And when you get that, and you get a first entry failed second entry long, I say you take that. I like that setup. It kind of looks like a breakout pullback right here as well. So that's just an added uh, 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 it's something in your favor. So I like that. We make this move down. This looks like a two-legged pullback. Maybe that's why I marked it. But this is a double bottom right here, so it's not a great setup, but it's probably off a trend line. So that looks like a trend. It looks like a trend down, with that being a midline. So that leads to an overshoot, which leads to a break, some sideways stuff right here, and I don't like any of that. This looks like a failure, but it's far from the EMA, and with all those bars stacked up, I think you got to stay out. And then we form some congestion here, probably just trapping a bunch of longs before they take it lower. You get a first entry, failed second entry. So unfortunately here, it looks like you would have gotten stopped out. Maybe I wasn't watching, so maybe it went higher first, but really, you shouldn't be looking at, even though this is off the trend line, you probably shouldn't be looking at a failure that far from the EMA when prices have been choppy. But when you get this signal bar, I think you can take that. I like that. So it looks like a spike in channel to me. You get an overshoot, and really this is probably looks like a channel to me. So you get an overshoot that leads to a break of that, and this is just I don't think you can enter any of this. You get this second entry, but it looks more like a range, so you probably want to wait on a lower high, and you don't get that set up. This is a lower high, but it just looks like it bounced. It's just not a lower high I'd like to take. But then you get a first entry, failed second entry long, and I like that. Let's see, I might have had it drawn if I was doing it live. See, this looks like a range, but I'd probably move it up. And then that looks like it's a breakout pullback off the midline. But anyway, the bias is, we're down. And they probably trapped a bunch of longs after they tried to go higher once and a second time. Also, I'm looking at this as a new high or a double top. First entry, failed second entry. So just wanted to point that out. I think this is a good entry. I like that. Too far from the EMA, congestion, first entry, second entry. That's pretty much a repeat pattern that we have from right there. And then we're kind of chopping downward. And we find this support here. And we come down here and we're chopping on both sides of the EMA, but I really like this first entry, failed second entry setup. It just looks like there's enough trapped longs that are going to be in there that would exit. So that's why I like that. You can see first entry, second entry, but this one doesn't break lower. So you get an inside bar, and then that's where the failure happens. It actually happens right there. So not sure if I would go on that signal bar though. Yeah, you would want to use this as a signal bar. Make like a quadruple bottom, it reverses, but there's no setup, and you get, I believe this is a spike in channel. Too congested, no good entries, first entry. And yeah, there's just nothing in here. We get a break, move to a new high, and then it reverses. And you get this double top, first entry, failed second entry long. That's also a second entry short. So I like that. That's it in there, and then we reverse. You know, maybe this break was valid. Break one leg, two legs down, and then it reverses. Very choppy in here. I don't think you want to take this. Overshoot leads to a break, and we get this channel down, and first entry, failed second entry long right here. I like that. It's on the other side of the EMA, and I mean, there's a lot of dojis in here, so I'd probably be very hesitant to take this in real time, but with the overshoot and this trend channel working down, and there's plenty of room to these lows, I think you can take it. Come down here, and we're just chopping like upward, but then we bounce off the channel, come back, test it again, test it another time, and that's actually, technically this is a failure, but I'd probably just be looking at this as a range, so I don't know about that. We get some congestion at that midline. You don't want to, I don't think you don't want to take that failure. It's going into the lows, and it looks pretty congestive, and we came short of this trend channel, so I don't think you want to take that. And you can see that leads to a break. This congestion leads to a break. You get a second entry right here, and there's room back to the EMA, or at least it looks like it. Hold on, let's see. 46.50. So I think you're better off to wait, but maybe you took that, but you get a failure right here. And then we're just too far from the EMA, and get another overshoot and just some congestive downward movement before it bounces out of here. And they're just chopping people up. You can't take that failure on this side of the EMA. Congestion. And you don't want to take that failure too far from the EMA. Congestion. Second entry long, I say you take that. That looks pretty good. With that much room to the highs, and it looks like we're in an uptrend. I would guess. I mean, it looks like we might have, that trend channel might have broke, but yeah. So we got a break and a move to a new high, but and it's going into the midline. So I mean, I'm gonna mark it blue, but there are reasons to be a little timid if you were taking that. and then we just have a range, and that brings us pretty much to the end of the day. So that's how I saw it. I hope everyone had a great day, and I'll be back tomorrow.